Welcome to Sacred Harmony, where science, wellness, and consciousness intersect. Today, we are joined by Jason Yun, founder of Improvement Warrior Fitness, who explores the fascinating link between cardiac rhythm, mindset, and the deeper workings of a consciousness. From energy cycles to soulful alignment, Jason shows how understanding our body's natural rhythm can transform both daily life and personal growth. Welcome to the show, Jason. It's such an honor to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. So, Jason, can you explain how cardiac rhythm influences not just our sleep but our consciousness and mindset?
Yeah. So it's circadian rhythm is basically I consider it, and I mean everybody should consider it. It's the most important aspect for health. Basically, everybody knows that we run on a cycle. There's 24 hours in a day, and in that day, certain things are supposed to be happening. So the sun will rise at a certain time, it'll set at a certain time, and that will change throughout the year as well. But also there's a circadian rhythm going on inside of your body. So certain things are supposed to happen. So when your blood pressure is supposed to be the highest, when it's supposed to be the lowest, when is the best time to eat, when is the worst time to eat, when is the best time to work out, when is the worst time to work out, when certain hormones are supposed to turn on, when they're supposed to turn off, all that is dictated by a circadian rhythm. So how it plays into your mindset is basically if your rhythm is off. So if you allow too many circadian, what we call disruptions, basically modern man things, modern man conveniences, then that rhythm, that timing inside of us is going to get off, and that's going to affect a lot of biological processes. So one of the big ones is our hormones. So cortisol is known as the stress hormone. A lot of people just throw it under the bus and like it's all bad, but I mean it's there for a reason. And if cortisol gets out of whack, then that's when a lot of big problems can occur. Usually you'll notice the first thing will be like your energy will be the first thing to go. But if you let it continue to slide down the path and you continue with your circadian disruptions, then then the symptoms will get worse and then disease will eventually appear. So that has great effect on the mindset, because when we're in tune, we can basically be more positive. But when you start getting hormone issues, when your body starts getting into pain, it's a lot harder to have that positive mindset. And I believe it's said that we have anywhere between like 10,000 to 14,000 messages coming in, and the majority of those are from us. And 95% of those messages are the same message over and over and over again. And if it's coming from a negative mindset, then 95% of what we're saying to ourselves is basically keeping us down, keeping us in that sympathetic fight or flight state, rather than the parasympathetic, where we can relax, we can be calm, our brain waves can be just stress-free and all that. But that's not how we're wired. Because I mean, I'm not sure where you are, but here in the States, I mean, everything is just, it's just go, 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 get everything done. Don't worry about sleep. Drink coffee in the morning, drink coffee in the afternoon, drink coffee in the evening. It's just go, go, go. And then that really plays a negative impact on everything that we are trying to do as a human being, because you can't be a positive human being if you're constantly drinking caffeine, and that's causing a dehydrating effect. So the dehydration is one of the big effects of like the technology that we use, the phones, the computers, the iPads, the Wi-Fi, all that stuff. And when we're dehydrated, because 99.9% of our molecules inside of us are water molecules. So We can't get dehydrated. We have to put the right nutrients, put the right water in, put the right air in, put the right breathing in, and then that basically creates the whole human. But obviously, the powers that be, the corporations and the government agencies, they don't want that. They want people that are easily controlled. So hopefully that answered your questions. I know I went a little bit all over the place with there, but yeah. So
No, that's amazing and actually really fascinating. And also, how might misalignment in our natural rhythm affect emotional or spiritual well being?
um, well, everybody is has a spiritual side to themselves, whether they um commit to a spiritual practice or not. We have our spirit inside of us, and also have our soul, and our soul basically, I my belief is that it never dies. So if the physical body dies, the soul just goes on forever, for infinity. But when timing gets off, that can deeply affect like the areas that's going to affect the most are the ones that have the most mitochondria. So mitochondria is basically the powerhouse of the cell. It's basically what runs us. On an average person, your body weight is supposed to make up mitochondria is supposed to make up like 30% of your total body weight. So if those mitochondria start failing, then you're going to have major issues. So so when the areas that we have the most mitochondria are our heart is number one, and then our brain is number two. So those are the areas that over here, the number one disease is heart disease, and the number three disease is it involves the brain. So it's either Alzheimer's, dementia, stroke, brain cancers, stuff like that. So anywhere you have the most mitochondria, that's what can typically fail the fastest. And with the brain and heart, if those fail, then you're basically going to die. So it's very important to keep yourself in alignment with nature, because if you get out and you follow the modern man ways of living, so basically we make our days dark, and then we make our nights bright, when it's supposed to be the opposite way around, because darkness is just as important as sunlight. But unfortunately, with like our technology devices that shine blue light in your face at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m., midnight, same with TV and all this stuff coming in, it's going to affect your consciousness. It's going to lower your consciousness. And when that happens, then basically your whole body is being attacked. So your spirit is going to be attacked. Your soul is going to be attacked. You're not going to be focused on driving towards a definite major purpose. You're not going to have goals. You're basically going to be like a zombie. So you're basically going to wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, and then you're basically going to do it again. Or you're going to go to work, come home, engage in your habits, your addictions. You're not going to be working on yourself. And when you're not working on yourself, you're not working on your spiritual side. You're not working on the deeper aspects of yourself, because you're not able to silence the mind. So you're always in that fight or flight state. So basically, your body always thinks that there's like a tiger around the corner, and he's going to eat you he's going to eat you basically.
That's so eye opening. Like, our bodies aren't just biological machines, they are deeply tied to our perception and presence.
Yes, for sure.
Many people feel off but can't identify why. So, how can tuning into cardiac rhythm help someone regain their balance?
Well, when I work with clients, that's the first thing that we typically address. Um, Obviously, each person is a case by case basis, but retuning the circadian rhythm is what we need to work on most. Well, even me, 10 years ago, I would have focused on your diet and I would have focused on your fitness. Both of those are important, but if the circadian rhythm is broken, it means your mitochondria is broken. It means your hormones are broken. And if you start working out or you go on a diet, then you're going to break those things even further. You may get like a short-term gain, but in the long run, and that's what we're focused on. We're focused on lifelong health. In the long run, that's going to cause more damage. So the more diets you do, the more crazy workouts you do, you're basically depleting your stem cell depot. And once those run out, then basically it's like the only thing that can save you is like cancer. So, and that's what most people don't understand, that most people think cancer is a disease, but it's actually the last ditch hope to save a person's life. Because basically when cancer does appear, it's basically you have run through all your healthy cells, you've run through all your stem cells, and now the only thing that can keep you alive is cancer cells. So it's basically it should be an eye-opening thing, and it should hopefully change a lot of people's perspective. But yeah, if your circadian rhythm is intact, you don't have to worry about cancer. The number one thing that I say about circadian rhythm is it is mostly tied to light. So I always say your light environment is more important than the food you eat or the exercise you do. And so the first light that you want to see is the sunrise. So the sunrise is the most important thing for your circadian rhythm, and you want to see it with naked eyes. So no sunglasses, no contacts. If you do wear glasses, you pull them to the bridge of your nose, you're taking them completely off, because you want that sunlight going into your eye. Because right behind the retina is our suprachiasmatic nucleus, or the SCN for short. That is the master circadian clock. And so we want that sunlight going into the eye, and then once that sunlight hits the SCN, it gets transmuted to the anterior pituitary gland. It turns on the correct hormones, where as opposed if the first thing you do is roll over, you turn on your phone and you're looking at a blue lit screen, that's going to send the signal to turn on the wrong hormones. It's going to turn on the cortisol. You're going to be put into a fight or flight response, and your dopamine is going to be lowered, your melatonin is going to be lowered, and all this stuff. It's just like a domino effect. But seeing the sunrise is going to help basically reconnect the person to everything that is natural inside the body. And that is what we want. So when we resync the circadian rhythm, basically energy comes back, sleep gets better, and all that stuff. But yeah, it starts with sunrise and periodic sun breaks throughout the day. But if you are somebody who, like, say for instance, works in an office building and you've got those fluorescent lights coming down and you're working in front of a computer all day long, you're sitting all day long, which is another circadian mismatch that we face. So I think a while ago I did a blog post that said that for every hour that you sit, it takes off 22 minutes of your life. And I think that the research showed that for every cigarette that one smokes, it takes 11 minutes off your life. So most people are sitting like 8-10 hours a day. And so that's an issue. But if you're under that artificial light, then that can be really, really hard to overcome. But there are ways to overcome it. So there are ways to make your office healthy, especially if you're going into an office. And there's definitely ways that you can do it if you work from home. It's a lot easier to do it if you work from home, but it can be done. But that's the most important thing, is resetting that circadian rhythm. Because if not, then when you go to work out or you go on a diet, then that's really just going to hurt you more. Because if somebody is overweight and they're coming to me, I will typically tell them to stop working out until we fix their hormones. The leptin hormone being the most important. So leptin is the number one, is the master hormone. It controls all other hormones. So most people know that diabetics have a problem with insulin. But if somebody is insulin resistant, leptin resistance showed up before insulin resistance. So if you fix the leptin, which you need to do by fixing the circadian rhythm, then insulin resistance will basically just go away. And your weight will naturally go where it should. Your body fat will naturally go where it should. But it all starts with resetting that circadian rhythm and, getting back in tune with nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. And it's incredible how small intentional shifts in routine can actually restore energy and clarity.
Yeah, it's very, yeah. we we basically just shifted towards a modern man convenience. We want everything like microwaved, basically. But that's not how the body works.
Mhm. Yeah. And you connect career health to a deeper aspect like soul alignment. How do you see this relationship in your work?
Um, well, it's because I, so we didn't get into my story, but basically my goal is trying to make as many people healthy as possible. So I suffered with depression, I suffered with anxiety and thoughts of suicide, and basically it was because I was doing things that I was not designed to. So I followed all the things that you're supposed to do: go to school, go to college, graduate, and then you're supposed to come out. You're supposed to get your dream job. You're supposed to find your dream wife, and then move into your dream house, and then everything's hunky dory, and you live happily ever after. But that's not really how it works. So basically, I was in jobs that I hated just to pay the bills, and that it was very, I mean, that kind of lifestyle where you're just working for the weekend, and the weekend is too short, and you just hate your life, and it's basically just like the merry-go-round ride, and eventually it starts just speeding. It starts off slow, but then it starts to pick up pace because your body is, as you age, your body is losing the important chemicals. It's losing the important hormones, and its ability to fight is being drained. So your soul is basically being sucked dry when you are in a job that you absolutely hate. And you have to keep going to it because you have to pay the bills. You have to pay your car. You have to pay your mortgage. You have to pay your rent. You have to pay your TV bill, your cell phone bill. You have to pay for all this stuff. And everything now is just, I don't know how it is over there, but over here, everything is getting much more expensive. So it's just like, it's a repetitive cycle that just sucks you dry. But when you start moving and fixing your circadian rhythm, basically you can find your purpose. Because a lot of people who come to me, they have ailments and they want those ailments gone. And once those ailments are gone, that's like pain coming off their shoulders. So now they're able to think better, they're able to move better, and when they're able to do that, then they can basically, that will be projected to other people around them, and they're able to help other people better. So they're basically finding a purpose for life. And sometimes I've helped many people who have gone into the health realm, the health world, coaching world, fitness world, nutrition world, doing the same thing I'm doing with circadian coaching and whatnot. So basically it just frees you from being locked down and locked into a paradigm that we don't want to be So we want to be focused on our purpose, and we want to have goals to move us to that purpose. And if we don't, then life can be very ugly, so to speak. It's like Rocky Balboa says, life ain't sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and if it'll knock you down and keep you down if you let it. So we got to fight, and it starts, in my opinion, with circadian biology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And also that resonates, like when body and soul move in harmony, decision making and presence feel effortless.
Yeah, because I mean, you're raising your dopamine levels. A lot of people are talking about dopamine now and all this stuff, but the one thing that they miss is the only thing that can control the regulation, properly control the regulation of dopamine is the sun. So dopamine is actually made in UVA light. So so when you have sunrise, once the sun gets over 10 degrees angle, that's when UV light comes out, UVA specifically, so ultraviolet A light. And that's when dopamine is made, serotonin is made, which converts into melatonin. That's when beta endorphins are made. So it's like an opioid in your body. So it's basically nature telling your body, hey, you're supposed to be addicted to me and not addicted to your phone. So when your dopamine is proper in you, you can see things, you're more curious, you're going to question things that don't seem right. So a lot of, I mean, here in the US, I mean, our government and certain people, and I mean, yeah, it's just, it's crazy. But if you're always looking at a blue lit phone or you're always staring at a computer, then it's going to be hard to get out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And also, that's valuable. Knowledge without practice doesn't really help, but practical tweaks create lasting shifts.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it starts small. So I didn't do all this I've been doing this for just over 7 years now. And I just started and implemented one thing and then another thing. And then if they work, then I implement them and keep them in my life. If they don't work, I throw them away or just keep them in the back of my mind. So sometimes maybe down the road, I might need that. But it's always good to, it's I know Dr. Jack Cruz has a quote where he says, it's the mark of an educated man for someone to take something that they fundamentally do not believe, examine it, and then see where it fits in their life. So I was so ingrained in the fitness and nutrition industry. It took me over a month of listening to a talk on YouTube over and over and over again until I actually did something. And then when I did it, the change happened real fast. And I've been a believer in circadian biology and mitochondrial health ever since. And I will continue to preach about it and yell from the rooftops about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Like trying and seeing what actually works for you.
Yes, for sure.
So, Jason here reminds us that our internal clocks are more than schedules, they are gateways to consciousness, vitality, and soulful alignment. And to our listeners, tune into your natural rhythms, honor your body's signals, and watch how harmony emerges from within.